here we are today with the one and only Chesney Hawkes. We were trying to think of something original to say, but the one and only that song is so deeply ingrained into my head, I can't even think of anything else.
You're not alone in introducing me in that way.
Every single person's you're just gonna do it, aren't you, naturally? We are in my humble opinion, mate, the most amazing location in the UK.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I once did a gig here.
You did a gig?
Yeah, on this seat, on Jimi Hendrix's bench.
Yeah.
I sat here with a guitar as a charity event, and there was only about 20 people in here. And it was me, Natasha Bedingfield, and Katie Melua.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You all got a close and personal on Natasha.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
She's a beautiful lady.
She's lovely. She's very lovely. Her whole family really nice, actually.
Tell us, mate. You went to school. You went to school. Were you any good at school?
I was a bit of not the greatest kind of academically. I think I was just a bit of a kind of, I just wanted to do music all the time, and I didn't do my homework, and I regret it now because I feel like I was probably a bit of a cocky little git at school, and I left school as soon as I could. I didn't really enjoy, being taught. Yeah. But these days I'm actually like, I want to soak up knowledge and learn stuff all the time, and I kind of wish that I did, concentrate, I guess. And now I've got a 15-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy, and I...
Mate, you've been busy.
I have. Yeah, we don't have a TV.
Because you were in our interview, like we were joking about it before, I was like, basically how we got in touch was I was walking to work one day. I was walking to work in the castle, like a hotel in Haverfordwest, and I was walking down, and I was looking at my phone, and it flashed up Chesney Hawkes, and I was like, no, and I was like, looked into it, Chesney Hawkes has followed you, and I was like, what?
Oh, right, it's a Twitter thing.
Yeah, on Twitter, and I was like, Chesney Hawkes has followed me, that's crazy. So then I think I messaged you, and then we wanted to get the interview done, and it was like, I don't even know, you're the longest person who's took me, because you were like, yeah, I'll do it, but then you have been so flat out.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It has been a crazy year. It really has. I don't seem to have any time off at all. And it was one of those, let's pick a day. Oh, we can't do that day. Oh, I can't do that week, can't do that month. It's just been one of those times.
and because basically you're in LA, aren't you?
Yeah, I live in LA, but I travel back and forth for gigs, and so sometimes I have, this is why I'm here now, I have like a day off in between gigs, and I'm here doing nothing, so I thought, well, that's the perfect day, so we kind of, let's nail that one in.
Thank you so much, and a massive thank you to Brian as well, your manager. Yeah. He's been absolutely amazing.
I know, he really made it happen. He's brilliant. He picked the day. He's like, right, you are doing that interview that day.
The thing is, he is so nice, right? He's like, Mark, I'm so sorry, and there's this, and the same with none of you. There's no diva or anything like that. I am, and Brian is just the nicest person.
He's great. He's really lovely.
The one and only. How did that come about?
Well, I just had finished filming Buddy Song, which is a film I did with Roger Daltrey.
Yeah. And how did you get into that? I mean, Roger Daltrey is massive. Who and
well, I was having my wisdom teeth out. Yeah. And I was about 17 years old, and I kind of came to blood in my mouth and kind of couldn't talk, and my mum and dad were standing right here, and there was a TV in the corner of the room, and Roger was on looking for a boy that could play his son in a film, and they had to be able to play guitar, keyboards, could sing, that could possibly be the right age to be his son, and it all kind of, for me, I was always a musician. It was kind of like my way into the music industry for me, because it was a very musical based film. So of course with these cotton balls in my mouth, and I thought, oh, I want to do that.
So you were prepared. So what could you play at that point?
I wasn't a great guitar player. I just kind of had started to pick up a guitar. I was accomplished piano player and a singer, and a songwriter at the time. I started by playing kind of piano man stuff in the corner of pubs up and down around where I used to live. And that's how I learned my craft. Really is just playing Billy Joel and Stevie Wonder songs.
Yeah, fantastic.
Piano, So I literally auditioned for that role, and I was lucky enough to get it. So.
And what was it like meeting when as a kid? You know, obviously you're friendly with Roger now, and all of the rest is all changed.
Oh, it was. What
was that like?
Nerve-wracking. You know, doing that, the screen test itself was really...
Because he's a huge star, isn't he? Like, sort of...
Yeah, about 4'8". No,
is he 4'8"?
No, I'm joking. Not joking, he's not that. No, obviously he's a legend. You know, he's a rock and roll legend. And meeting Roger... I mean, when I first met him, we did this screen test, and it was a scene, very emotional scene between father and son, where he had to slap me. And I just thought, you know, not being an actor at all, I didn't really know how that really worked. And he said, you know, he just said, let's just do the scene. So I thought maybe he would just kind of pretend to hit me and I'd pretend to be hit. But he whacked me across the face, like really. I had a handprint on my face. So there was no acting going on at that point, you know. I almost had tears because it was like, it's probably why I got the part, you know. It's like, oh, he can cry on.
Bloody hell. God, so that was your introduction to... Well, there'd be none of that off me, mate.
No,
God, no. Jesus.
Sitting back a little bit, you know. At least I've learned my lesson, mate.
Bloody hell. And then you got involved with the one and only...
Yeah, the one and only came along after we'd kind of were doing the film. The record company were looking for... I'd written a bunch of songs for the album and for the film, and there were other outside songs. And they were looking for a hit. You know, it's like that record company is always looking for, you know, well, don't
everybody wants a hit, though, don't they? You know?
But so my dad was friends with a publisher called Stuart Newton, and he just had lunch with him, and he knew that I was a massive Nick Kershaw fan, this guy, and he said, "Oh, give this to Chesney." He gave him a cassette of 20 Nick songs that he'd recorded, but I guess at that point Nick was kind of like, he didn't really want to be an artist, or it wasn't in recording at the time. And, you know, I mean, I grew up as a Nick Kershaw fan. I was a huge fan.
I was the same. We were talking off camera. I was a massive fan, and I, you know, he's got so many amazing songs. And The Riddle is my favourite. Like,
he's a step above. I mean,
he's fantastic.
He's amazing. So this cassette, my dad brought home and said, "Hey, check this out," and it was like all these songs, and so I put it in. I was like, "Oh my God, is it a new Nick Kershaw album?" He said, "No, they're all free for anyone to record. So I mean, if you're interested in recording any of these for this album," I was like, "Of course I am. I want to meet Nick Kershaw."
Yeah.
You know? So I've still got the cassette, and I've got little asterisks by the one and only, and another couple of songs. Yeah.
And that's how it happened.
Yeah. And then really, it stemmed from me wanting to meet Nick.
That's how important is it to be connected to the right people?
Well, I mean, in hindsight, everything is that, isn't it?
Every single thing, you know, isn't it?
You know, I mean, if at the time, I mean, if we didn't go with that, who knows what would have happened, really.
You'd be stacking shelves in Tesco, mate.
Thanks for your confidence, mate. Thanks for your confidence in
I have more confidence in you than that. You'd be a hedge fund manager. You'd probably be a billionaire now. You've messed up, haven't you,
I've
mate?
messed up, but I went down the music route. That's what I keep saying to my kids. No, what you want to do is go into accountancy, kids.
And then, so that came out. What was it like with that sudden fame?
It was full on, because it was very meteoric. I mean, it was, you know, within kind of...
It was
a few
bam,
weeks,
wasn't it? It was like...
within a few weeks of that record coming out.
Nick has been thrown at you, mate, and all of this business.
That still happens.
That must have been horrendous.
They're slightly bigger these days.
They're big knickers.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like being in the eye of a storm, really. Like, you know... It was, at one point, I remember counting 7 countries in one day that we did. Like, you know, because you go and you do a couple of interviews there, and you get on a plane, you do that, and then you do a gig there, and like, it's crazy. It's nuts. When it's that big and everybody wants a piece of you. I mean, I fainted in Japan once because of the amount of work we'd done, you know. I mean, it sounds like I'm moaning. It's not.
No.
But all it is just exhaustion, you know. And so you understand why... You know, I see these artists now that suddenly become big, like, you know, like the Adeles of the world, and then they get ill. You know, it happens because everybody wants a piece of you, and of course the machine wants you to do everything.
Because you're hot at the time and all that, and then it's like, let's keep on pumping that out.
You're not warned.
No, so a lot of it, like, you know, a lot of people that have never been in the media or anything like that, they sometimes look at these, especially how it blew up for you, and they were like, God, that's the dream. But sometimes it can be quite challenging.
I mean, you know, as a whole, it's every young boy's dream, you know. I mean, it was crazy. It was so fun. And my brother was the drummer in my band, and he travelled around with me, you know, and we experienced this incredible life together. It was just amazing. I mean, you know, and playing arenas and, you know, all around the world and travelling the States and just everywhere. And it was a lot of fun. Really was a lot of fun. And we look back on it very fondly. But, yeah, of course, for me in particular, because I was you know, it wasn't a band, it was just me, and all the focus was on me when I did all the interviews and stuff like that, you know, so it did get crazy, you know, it really did. I mean, it was like a blur, as I said. It's like, when I say the Eye of a Storm, it was like, you know, because at the end of it all, after the kind of 2 or 3 years of madness, you know, I felt like I'd been kind of like kicked out of a buzzing club at like 2 a.m. or something, and you'd kind of fall on your ass in the gutter, and you're like, what happened there? You know, it was pretty nuts.
But that record, I mean, you still play that and stuff like that now?
Yeah, I can't do a gig, especially here in Europe. I can't really do a gig without playing that. I'd get kind of chased out. I'd get chased out of town if I didn't. I have rarely done gigs, you know, without it. I did like 7 years after that point where I didn't play at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, I formed a band like, you know, kind of, you know, Nirvana type, like grunging and shoegazing and turning up to 11 and telling people to bugger off when they ask for the one and only, and you know, you know, that was a fun time as well, because it was kind of like paying my dues the other way round, you know. And I remember playing to, you know, 2 men in flat caps and a Jack Russell and your amp blowing up, and you know.
So you're like, oh well, yeah, I think I'll leave that then.
Well, yeah, exactly. It was just it was like doing it the other way round. I had all the success early and then went back to kind of do the struggling bit, you know.
It's just nuts, isn't it, how it can work like that in the music industry. Were there any sort of like points where you were like, it's like public speaking and things like that. That's a massive fear for a lot of people to get in front of like the camp, you know, all of these people. Did you have any fears? And if you did, how did you get over them?
Early on, very, very early on, because I was thrown into it, I did have that kind of fear of being in front of a big crowd, because I felt like I hadn't. It was just suddenly you're suddenly playing arenas. You know, it's like I went from playing piano in a corner of a pub to being a big pop star. Yeah. So that was, you know, and I didn't get any kind of, you know, training in how to do it, how to be a pop star or whatever. You know, and so that was difficult. But you soon kind of get into the swing of it, you know. It's funny. I feel like in those early days, I was never really kind of like, you know, found my kind of swing, you know. Yeah. And that came later on when playing, as I said, playing with bands to little rooms like this. Yeah. And it just kind of clicked for me. It's like, oh, I don't have to think about that as a big audience. I just think of them as I'm playing to my friends in a front room. Yeah, yeah. And that was a moment where I thought, that's where it all changed for me. Yeah. And now it's all, you know, every gig is intimate because I just treat them like my friends.
Yeah. With on that road then, did Nick or certain people sort of look after you and say, you know, what to watch out for, and Roger, you know?
Yeah, I had good people around me. You know, my dad. You know, but Dad was kind of managing me in the early days, and he's been through it, of course. He was in a band called the Tremolos in the 60s. Yeah. And so I kind of had a little bit of a grounding in, you know, in the music industry, a little bit with him. Nick was brilliant, always a good friend to me, and still is. One of my best friends. I count him as, you know... Yeah. And I love him to death. And he was always there for advice and... you know, if I just needed a shoulder to cry on, Nick was always there for me. Yeah. And of course, I had my brother, and we were growing up together.
That's fantastic. In this world, you had the brother thing going on as well, and he was coming around touring.
He was my drummer. He still is.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. If you had like a sort of 3 tips on success for people, what would you say they are?
Well, I think for me the most important thing is persistence, because especially in success in the music industry or in entertainment industry, because the chances are so slim of you making it. Yeah, I was lucky. I really was. I mean,
there is an element of luck then.
Yeah, I mean, but persistence is a lot. You have to have the drive. It's like I work with a lot of young people, you know, and I have people come through my studio, and I see talent in droves. I really do. You know, amazing singers, amazing songwriters, and you know, we make music and everything. But for whatever reason, they don't have the kind of like, right, what are we doing? Let's go. Let's go up and where's the next thing? Or you know, we need to get taped to the record label. You know, it's that kind of. Let's do it. Where's the next gig? Where's it? You know, it's like we've got to get going. We've got to go. That is a rarity. It's funny. It's like, I think you have to have that. I know I had that. Yeah. You know, I never wanted, I was like a one-track mind. I never wanted anything else but to make it in the music industry. And, you know, I'm sure that had a certain percentage to do with how I actually made it in the end. So it's, you get knocked back. You have to have thick skin. Yeah. Because people, you know, you're going to get people saying you're not good enough, or, you know, it's not working, or have you thought about maybe, you know, getting a proper job, or, you know, it's those kind of things that, and as you get older, of course, those things become more important.
You never wanted a proper job.
Never. I've never, the only proper job I ever had was, I was a paper boy.
Oh, you really? I was a paper boy as well. Oh, yeah. How much were you on?
I can't remember.
Come on,
do you remember?
I was on £8 a week.
You remember that 80 years ago?
I know, it was that long ago, wasn't it?
Oh God, it was a £5 a week or something like that.
It's crazy. I used to just put it on in all the fruit machines and stuff like that. Anyway, it was just gone the next day.
Oh yeah, of course.
It was just gone.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, when they're looking to be successful, and I've seen it, you know, with certain people, they're like so focused on being this big success and all of this, they lose the fun along the way, and they're serious. And I'm like,
oh no, it's true as well. So there is a fine line, but there's
a fine line,
and there's another thing that's kind of more for kind of current behaviour with people that want to be successful, is they just want to be famous. And there's people that, you know, really for me, you have to be good at what you do. Yeah. I mean, you know, I played piano since I was 9 years old. I've always been a singer, always. And, you know, I've worked at it, you know, I've practiced. And, you know, I knew what I wanted to do. And, you know, I made it through the music that I made. And you know, these days in the kind of advent of all the X Factors and America's Got, or I say America's Got Talent, I live in America. And Britain's Got Talent and all that kind of stuff. People just, you know, go into these things because they want to be famous. They see celebrities. Celebrity is kind of almost a new thing, really. Yeah. You know, there's celebrities that have made it just because of their personality, really. Yeah. And it's a very different
world. I've interviewed a few.
I'm sure you have, Mark. I'm sure.
Yeah, but in all fairness, some of the celebrities, and I because they're down in where I live in Haverfordwest, there's Eddie's Rocks nightclub. So Mark, the owner, he gets some of the sort of reality people in. Yeah. But in all fairness, the ones that I interviewed, they're not like, yes, I'm a success. They were really great people.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
They were really nice.
There's people like Llewhellin. You know,
Llewhellin,
I love Llewhellin.
He looks like Ant off SAS Who Dares Wins. Oh, Llewhellin and Ant, and they're honest.
Never seen in the same room.
No, but they're just like they look so much alike.
I
you know,
say he's a lot musclier than Llewellin.
He's a lot musclier, but I can tell you what, Ant. Your teeth ain't nowhere near as white as mine.
No, that's true as well.
Teeth, I was like, what the heck is that?
But say, going back to that, see, Ryland's a talented man. Yeah. He fell into...
He failed a lot as well, didn't he? And
well, yeah, I mean...
But he kept on going,
But he kept going. He's very persistent. He's a driven guy, and he's very, very good at what he does. Yeah. Very good, you know. And so there are people that come through in that way, and they find their kind of niche, as it were. You know, and he has found that.
Who did you look up to? Obviously, you looked up to Nick Kershaw, Roger Daltrey, people like that. Was there any other person that you thought fantastic?
It's funny because, I mean, obviously I grew up in the 80s, but my dad was a 60s musician. Yeah. And, you know, my first kind of taste of music really was going through his records. And the Beatles were my everything.
Same as that, mate. The Beatles. The Beatles are just...
Especially John Lennon. I mean, just my...
Nothing you can say about it, is there? And we've got John Lennon's glasses over there.
Yeah, and I saw his handwritten...
oh, you're right.
Just over here, yeah.
Fantastic. Lyrics. Yeah, and that harpsichord in there, mate, that's the harpsichord. Oh, do you know this? What that harpsichord is about? That's the harpsichord from Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds.
Oh, my God. Was it? Amazing. Wow. Yeah, we're in a very special place here. Right
It is really amazing.
You can kind of feel it. It's got an energy to it.
It's definitely got an energy, especially with me and you here, mate.
Exactly.
We got the energy.
The energy.
But I interviewed Chris Akabusi yesterday.
There's energy.
Wow, it was like we were like.
He's high octane.
But what a fantastic guy! And you asked him a question, and he's like pow, pow, and it's like that, and all of that sort of crazy. But it's a fantastic.
Oh, he's
guy.
brilliant.
He is an amazing guy. What have you got coming up?
All sorts. I mean, I'm touring like non-stop at the moment, as you know. Brian probably told you.
Yeah, God.
Loads of stuff. I'm doing a panto this year.
What is that?
Is, I'm playing Prince Charming in Red Hill.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, we've got to do these things. Oh no, you missed the trick there. You said, "Oh no," you should have said, "Oh no, you're not."
Do you know?
Damn it!
Yeah, but guess what?
What?
There's someone behind you.
So there is.
It is Ollie and Foxy and Billy from the SAS TV show. They've actually blended. You didn't even know this, mate. They've all blended into the background there. They've actually. There they are. There's the four of them there, mate. You don't even know that because their camera's so good, mate.
It's very clever.
So you've got
that. I've got a tour with my dad coming up.
A
little acoustic tour. Just me and him, and actually my brother's going to come along as well. And we've got my old mate Gary Nuttall, who was my guitarist from a very, very, very young age.
Yeah.
And he now plays for Robbie Williams. So it's just the four of us.
Fantastic.
And we're just going to bring out the old songs and do a lot of kind of like banter with the audience. And it's a little bit more kind of... theatrical. It's got more of a kind of a vibe to it, where we're going to kind of tell stories of the old days, and it's going to be awesome. It's really fun. It's something I've always wanted to do with the old man. And that
are you coming to Wales, mate?
I think so.
Are you really coming to Wales?
I don't know the exact dates and venues yet, but they're all very small venues, kind of art centres and small theatres, and it's going to be fun. That's kind of February, March. As I said, more touring. I've got lots of projects that I'm writing and producing young acts mainly, and developing young acts in Los Angeles. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's all go, Mark. It's all go.
And you're on you're Facebook and Twitter and all of these things?
Yeah, I'm
on everything?
All of those things, yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? It's like sometimes I'm like, and especially when you're very busy, it's like I post something on Facebook and then I'm like, I don't know if I want to post it on Twitter, and then Instagram is like on the third place for me, which
See, I love Instagram.
Right, you're first
on
Instagram,
yeah,
and then what's the next one after that?
Twitter,
and then
Facebook.
No, we're the opposite.
So you're Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. But
Facebook's probably the most important as far as reach.
Yes.
And it changes every bloody day, doesn't it?
I have found it, absolutely, and I have found, and there's all algorithms and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But it's amazing how it's connected people. Pay Zuckerberg his billions and Mr. Twitter guy as well, because what that service has provided is absolutely amazing, incredible. Isn't it?
Well, that's the thing about today. People ask me, about the difference between what it was like when I first made records, and now. And I think the biggest difference is it's in your own hands.
Yeah.
So like for me, it was always trying to get that elusive record deal. It's like you do the gigs and you make demos and you send them to the record labels and these days, you have it in your own hands. You can upload it onto YouTube and it's how
that's how Justin Bieber became famous, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of artists.
So he was on YouTube, and his manager was looking at 14 or 15-year-old guys throughout the night.
God bless him. We'll say no more about that.
Yeah, they've done good though. They've done good.
Well, I think that your own career as a young artist is very much in your own hands.
Yeah.
You can actually do it yourself now. You don't even need the record label anymore.
It's phenomenal, isn't it?
And if you can kind of build a following in that way, then that's when the big machines come along and find you,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Chesney Hawkes, the one and the only. Thank you very much for your time, mate.
Thank you, Mark.
Really appreciate it.
It's been fun. Glad we made it happen.
We made it happen after long last, mate. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have an awesome weekend. Stay positive. Take care.